Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be transforming a pair of denim jeans into a two-piece outfit. We'll be making a simple top with a ruffle bottom and then carrying that design into a skirt with a ruffle bottom. It's a super easy project, so if you're new to sewing, you should have no problem following the easy step-by-step tutorial. And with all that being said, grab a pair of pants and let's get started. Getting started with supplies, you'll need one pair of pants, and you can pretty much use any style of pants for this project. I'll be using a pair of wide leg jeans. It's going to give me a little bit more fabric to work with, but it's not necessary. You can still do this project with a standard pair of pants. But anyways, moving on to the project, the first thing we're going to do is measure down 2 to 3 inches from the center seam on the inseam and cut off both pant legs. We're going to start by making the skirt. We will use the pant leg material in future steps, but for the moment, we can place it off to the side. From here, we're going to move back to the inseam and dethread the remaining portion. And you do want to use a dethredder because we're trying to keep those seams intact. Now we're going to move to the center seam and dethread to the bottom of the fly. And the goal is to dethread high enough so that way when we overlap these two sides, that front panel sits flat. Flip the pants around to the opposite side and we're going to do the same thing on the back side of the seam. We're going to dethread the curved portion and that typically ends somewhere around the center of the pockets. I would start by dethreading to the center, overlap the sides, and then go from there. You don't want to go too high. As long as you can overlap the two sides and the back panel sits flat, you're good to go. And what we're going to be doing is overlapping these sides and stitching directly in the old stitch paths. Before stitching, you want to roll the bottom edge under to create a clean edge, place a few pins, add a couple pins along the curve so the layers don't move, and then we're going to stitch directly in the old stitch paths. This is a double stitch seam, so we're going to be adding 2 stitches. Flip the pants back around to the front and we're going to do the same thing. Overlap the two sides, place a few pins. This side has a full clean seam, so we don't need to roll the bottom edge over. We're just going to make sure that front side sits flat, place a few pins, and stitch directly in the old stitch paths. I do recommend matching the color of thread that's on the pants so that way it blends in perfectly. This particular pair of pants had tan thread, so I found a tan heavyweight thread. And it doesn't have to match exactly perfect. If it's close, it's still gonna look good. And before moving on, you do want to check both sides to make sure they're sitting flat and there's no puckering. If there is, you can always dethread and try again. As you can see, there's a little bit of excess fabric. All you need to do is trim that flush with the bottom edge. And depending on the style pants you're using, there might be a little bit on the inside too. All you have to do is trim that up to the seam about 1/4 inch away. At this point in the project, if you don't want to add the ruffle bottom, you can still just keep the skirt like this. To finish it off, you'd have 2 options. You can roll the bottom edge over to create a hem. This would be more for a clean finish, or you can just keep it as is and do 1 straight stitch along the bottom to seal off the seams. The bottom edge would then fluff up over time, creating a distressed look. But we're going to be adding the ruffle along the bottom, and for the moment this top section is complete, so we can place it off to the side and grab both of the pant legs. What we're going to do is line up the pant legs as best as possible, measure up about 8 to 10 inches from the bottom, and make a cut. We'll be turning this bottom section into a top, so if you want to make it a little bit longer, you can do that too. Keep in mind we will be adding the ruffle on the top as well. We'll be working on the top after the skirt, so we can place it off to the side. Next, we're going to be making the ruffles, and we want enough for both the top and the skirt, so we'll be cutting the remaining portion of the pant legs into 4 strips. I like to start by cutting it in half, and with the 2 new sections, I cut those in half as well. And this should give you pretty close to equal width strips. Locate the seam opposite of the double stitch. If you have 2 double stitch seams, you can pick either one. Using a pair of scissors, cut directly down the seam for each one of the strips. This will open up the leg panel and give us 1 long piece of fabric. But it's not long enough to fit all the way around the bottom edge of the skirt, so what we're going to do is grab 3 of the strips, lay them out with the right sides facing upward, and sew them together. The goal is to make it long enough to fit all the way around the bottom edge of the skirt and also give us enough room to ruffle the edge. So in the end, you want this one strip to be longer than the circumference of the skirt, so that way you have enough fabric to work with to add your ruffles. And this will vary based on the size pants you're using, but I found that 3 strips works pretty great to start with. So we're going to place the right sides together, lining up the side edge, and do the same thing for the final strip. Line it up with right sides together on the opposite edge and place a few pins. Since we're adding the ruffle to both the skirt and the top, we're going to do this one more time with another 3 strips. So after sewing, you should have 2 long strips. So from here, we're going to stitch both edges on the first strip at 1/4 inch seam allowance and repeat this for the second strip. I'm using a serger to clean up the edge. If you don't have a serger, you can use a zigzag stitch. Now that we have our 2 long strips, you'll notice that they might not be perfectly even on the top and the bottom edge. That's totally fine. We're going to be cleaning these up in later steps. But for this next step, we're going to be adding a top stitch to our new seam, so locate the seam allowance. You can fold it to the left or the right and stitch directly on top, adding a top stitch. For the best results, I recommend using an edge presser foot and matching the thread color that you used in previous steps. For this next step, you're going to have to make the decision whether to leave the bottom edge raw or to fold it over and add a hem. I do want to walk you through the process of adding the hem, so that's what we're going to be doing for this video. If you don't want to add it, you can skip ahead to the next step. and we'll be adding it to both of the strips. So what we're going to be doing is folding the edge over once and adding a top stitch. But before we do that, I do want to clean that bottom edge up so it doesn't fray outside of the hem over time. So I'm going to serge the edge first. If you don't want to serge, you can actually roll that bottom edge over twice to hide that raw edge completely. So you have a few different options to choose from based on what machines you have. Both of the options are going to yield the same results. And again, we're doing this for both of the strips. So what I'm going to do first is serge that bottom edge to clean it up. And really there's no bottom edge, you can pick either side, whatever one looks best to you. Then I'm going to fold that same edge under about 1/2 inch and add a hem. For a different look, I actually went back to the top, added a second stitch to make it look like a double stitch. Again, this is optional, it's really based on what style you're going for. If you do add the double stitch to one strip, you're probably going to want to do it to the second one as well. Before we add the pleats, we're going to take this one step further and add embroidery along that entire edge. And what we're trying to do is create a border for an extra look. This step is optional, but it's a fun thing you can do because it really takes your design to the next level. So again, feel free to skip ahead if it's not something you want to add. To do this step, you'll need an embroidery machine. I'll be using the K2 CE01. It's a single needle machine with a larger sewing format. I'm going to quickly walk you through what I did because when it comes to border stitching, it can be kind of tricky because the goal is to add the design along the entire bottom edge. So you want to find a design that you can keep repeating without it looking too copy and pasted. For example, with this mushroom design, you start at one end and you keep adding it until you reach the other end. But each time you add it, you want to kind of overlap it in a way that it blends together. So that's why it's best to find a design that works with this type of embroidery, so it's a lot easier. Now that we picked a design, we're going to place our hoop. This machine comes with a 4 by 9 1/4 inch hoop, which makes it perfect for doing border work. Remove the inner ring, place your stabilizer, and then your strip on top of the stabilizer. Clip the inner ring back into position, and remember we're starting at one end of the strip. And you want to try to get as close to the end as possible without the fabric slipping out of the hoop. Once you're ready, we're going to take it to the embroidery machine and clip it into the brackets. I'm going with the checkered design, and before you start stitching, you want to trace the area. This will give you an idea of the placement, and from there you can make any needed adjustments. I'm trying to place mine about 1/4 inch above the double stitch, so using the machine I'm going to move the design around until I get it in the right spot. Once you're ready, press start and wait for the machine to finish the design. After the first one is finished, we're going to remove the hoop and bring it back to the table. We don't want to take out the inner ring just yet. I find it easiest to mark the placement of the strip on the inner ring so we have a reference point for our next set. I marked the bottom edge on both sides, and then I also marked where the embroidery started. And ultimately, this is going to help me line up the next stitch. Now we can pop out the inner ring and remove the stabilizer. Place another piece of stabilizer on the outer ring, add the strip over top, line up the inner ring in the center, and from there you can make adjustments to the strip so it lines up with the guides. If done correctly, the next segment should start right at the start point and connect to our first design. Bring it to the sewing machine and start the second segment. And again, before going, you're going to want to trace it to make sure it's butted up perfectly because you can always make small adjustments on the machine and fine tune it so it looks perfect. When you have it lined up, press start and wait for the design to finish. Once it's done, remove the hoop and bring it back to the table. And that's pretty much it. You're going to repeat that process over and over until you reach the end of the strip. I find that making the guides on your inner ring really makes the process go a lot faster, but I'm sure you can use other techniques that work just as good. To speed it up, I'm going to jump ahead so we can keep moving on with the project. As you can see, I also added logos in between some of the segments. This is another fun thing you can do to really make your branding stick out. For the next step, we're going to add the ruffles to one of the strips, so grab the skirt and one strip. If you have two different size strips, I recommend grabbing the longest one. To make the ruffles look consistent, we want to first grab the measurement on the skirt. There's a few different ways you can do this. You can just measure it and go off that measurement, or what I like to do is grab a piece of webbing or twine, wrap it around the bottom edge, and cut it once it reaches the opposite side. This will give you the exact measurement and also a visual to work off of. Place the skirt off to the side and lay the webbing out flat. I find it's easiest to mark the center on the webbing and also the center on the strip. This way you can start at the center and begin to pleat towards the outside edge. I'm going back and forth with the pleats. I'll start folding it to the left and then I'll do the next one to the right. And you can do these folds in any increments. I spaced mine out about 2 inches apart. It really comes down to how long your strip is and how much fabric you have to work with. Once you have all the folds pinned, we're going to add a stitch to the top edge, securing down all the pleats. And you're going to want to make this stitch as close as you can to that top edge. At this point, you can see that all the pleats are locked into place. If you don't like how they're looking, you can always de-thread that stitch and re-pleat. From here, we want to grab the webbing strip one more time and just double check to make sure our measurement is correct. If the strip measurement doesn't match the webbing measurement, the easiest thing to do is to cut off a little bit of the strip so it matches the length of the webbing. You want it to be fairly close so that way when we sew it back onto the skirt, it lines up. Next, we're going to place the right side together, lining up the side edge. When it comes to lining up the edge, they might not be the exact same size, but what you want to do is line up the bottom edge where we added the hem. If the top edge doesn't line up, that's totally fine. We can always trim it in later steps. Place a few pins and stitch the edge at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. After finishing up the stitch, we're going to flip the right sides out, fold the seam allowance to the left or right, and add a top stitch. Moving into the final steps for the skirt, we want to grab the skirt, flip the wrong sides out, and figure out where we want to line up the ruffle strip on the skirt. Once you determine the front and back of the strip, we're going to place the right side together, lining up the raw edge at the bottom of the skirt. If done correctly, they should line up perfectly. But if not, there's an easy way to fix it without a lot of work. All you have to do is fold the edge over and add another pleat. This will reduce a little bit of that material and allow it to line up. And then from here, we're going to stitch all the way around that bottom edge at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'll be using a serger so it cuts and cleans the edge as I sew. If you don't have a serger, you can always use a zigzag stitch. Now that we have the ruffle on, you can kind of get an idea of how it's going to look. There's a lot of different ways you can modify that bottom edge. You can cut it on a curve, and this will make the sides pop up, give it an extra look. You can also easily change the position of the ruffle by trimming the bottom edge of the skirt smaller. Or if you're not making the top, you can use that second strip and add a second ruffle above the first ruffle. There's a lot of different things you can do to change it up to make it unique to your style. To finish it off, we're going to be adding a top stitch to the bottom edge, and there's two different ways you can do this. You can fold the seam allowance up or the seam allowance down. Each direction is going to give you a little different look. One's going to make the ruffle pop out, and one's going to make it look more in. I'm going to be pushing the seam allowance upward and adding the stitch directly on top of the skirt fabric. And for the cleanest results, I do recommend using an edge presser foot. And feel free to add 1 or 2 stitches. After finishing up the stitch, you can see that the ruffle looks more a part of the skirt, kind of like it's sticking out of the bottom. If you folded the seam allowance in the opposite direction, it makes that ruffle look like it's sitting on top of the skirt. There's really no right way to do it. It really comes down to preference. But anyways, that's going to complete the skirt. So for the moment, we can place it off to the side and grab the 2 bottom pant legs that we cut off in previous steps. Just like in previous steps, we're going to locate the seam opposite of the double seam and cut it with scissors. Unfold the panels with right sides facing up. We'll be turning these into the main base for the top. To get a better visual of what we're doing, I'm going to pin it to my dress form. I'm going to start by lining up the double stitch seams with the princess seams on the dress form. Do this for both of the strips with the hem at the top. Then we're going to move back to the front, fold the excess fabric under so it lines up with the center of the dress form. Once we have both sides folded, we're going to mark the bottom and the top. We're going to end up sewing this front center, so make sure you mark both sides. I also placed a few pins so it doesn't move around. From here, we're going to move to the double stitch seam, and as you can see, it kind of sticks out straight and just points down. What we're going to do is grab that seam, pull it towards the side so it sits flat. This will snug up the bottom of the top and align it with the princess seam. Then go ahead and repeat this step for the opposite side. And real quick, when you spin it around to the back, there is a gap. We're actually going to be adding elastic in future steps, so we don't have to worry about this at the moment. Moving back to the table, you're going to want to keep the pins on the double stitch seam, but you do want to look at both sides to make sure they're even. If they're not folded evenly, you can remove the pin and mirror the fold, because we're trying to get these as symmetrical as possible or else it's not going to fit correctly. And once you have them lined up correctly, we're going to stitch directly on top of the double stitch seam. Feel free to add 1 or 2 stitches. I just added 1 directly on top of the existing stitch. Now we can locate the front markings that we made at the top and the bottom of the panels, place the right sides together. More than likely, this won't be a straight line, it's going to taper inward, and that's what we're looking for. This way it's going to match up with our double stitch seams. Place a few pins, stitch at a 1/4 inch seam allowance, flip the right sides out, and add a top stitch. And just like that, we have the base for our top. From here, we're going to fold it in half and even out the back side. Again, you want both sides to be as symmetrical as possible. Open it up and move back to one of the sides. We'll be cleaning up the raw edge, so what we're going to do is roll the edge over twice and add a stitch. Repeat this fold for the opposite side, and remember to do it in the exact same increments. Place a few pins, take it to the sewing machine, and add your top stitch. Before moving on, you may want to fold it in half, just to double check that both sides are perfectly symmetrical. If everything is looking good, we can grab the second strip. If you skipped ahead, I did show how to make this in previous steps. At the center of the top, and begin to fold towards the outside edge. And I'm doing it the same way I did for the skirt. I'm going in opposite directions for each pleat. My strip was way too long, so I trimmed a little bit off, and from here we're going to stitch the top edge to lock all those pleats into place, and we're stitching as close as we can to that edge. After stitching, grab the top and line the strip up with the top to make sure the size is correct. Keep in mind, we do want the strip to be a little bit longer because we're going to be folding the outside edges inward to clean up the raw edge. And that's what we're going to be doing next. We're going to fold those edges over twice and add a stitch, just like we did for the top section on the back. Repeat this step for both sides, and before you sew it, it's probably best to line it up with the bottom of the top. just to ensure you have the correct measurements. Then go ahead and add your stitch to both sides. After finishing it up, double check both sides, make sure everything is looking good. Grab the top section and we're going to line it up on the bottom edge, so place the right sides together, lining up the center and the outside edges. When you have it lined up, place a few pins and we're going to stitch the edge at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And try to keep both sides lined up as you're sewing. Just like we did with the skirt section, we're going to add a top stitch to the bottom edge. So fold the seam allowance up or down and the same rule applies. Each direction will give you a different outcome. If you fold it down and stitch on top of the ruffle, it's going to make that ruffle stick out. And if you fold it upward and stitch on the top, it's going to make that ruffle go inward. I'm going to do mine the same way I did the skirt so it matches. I'm going to fold the seam allowance upward and stitch directly on top of the top section. This stitch can get pretty bulky, so I recommend using a heavyweight needle. And as you can see, when it's finished, that ruffle section looks like it's tucked under. Flip it around to the back side and we're going to finish it off. There's a lot of different closures you can add on the back. I'm going to be using elastic. Overall, it's going to make it a lot easier to get on and off. And it's also going to help pull it together for a better fit. You may want to try it on before you cut the elastic strips. You want it to be small enough so it pulls it closed for a comfortable fit, but also not too small because then it's going to be uncomfortable and very tight. Once you found the right size, add an extra inch to each side because we're going to be rolling the edge over once and folding it under. This will give us a clean finish on the elastic from the inside. The first strip I'm lining up with the top edge, and then I'm going to add a second one in the middle and then one more at the bottom. And you can really add as many as you want in the back. You can also turn it into an X shape. I'm also going to be tapering it down to a smaller size with each segment. This will allow it to fit tighter around the midsection. Starting at the top, I'm going to roll the elastic under, add a tack stitch, and continue down from there, and then do the other side. If you're not sure about the size of the elastic, the best thing to do is do a small tack stitch, try it on after sewing, see if it fits. If it fits good, go back and do a better tack stitch. After finishing up the adjustments, both the top and the skirt section are complete. The final step is adding your branding. I use leather strips added with double-sided rivets. I also added the branding and border along the bottom in the previous steps, but it's always nice to add a second layer of branding just to give it more dynamic. Like I said in previous steps, there's a lot of different things you can do with the design of the skirt and the design of the top. Curving the bottom of the edge of the skirt can really give a different look, and you can do the same thing for the top section. Instead of having it just a straight line, you can curve it upwards, curve it downwards. There's so many ways you can take it, so get creative, have some fun with it, and make the design unique to your style. And there you have it, your two-piece outfit is complete. Hopefully yours turned out as good as mine. If it didn't turn out great the first time, I recommend practicing. After a few times, you're gonna start to build up the skills, and your projects are gonna start looking a lot nicer. Then you can take the skills you acquired and bring those into other projects. But like always, I love to see what you come up with, so tag me on Instagram at ProperFitClothing, and until then, I'm gonna keep the videos coming at you, so I'll see you next time.